Hi everyone, and welcome to my Cherry Springs vlog number 2. Today is May 20th, 2024. We are heading to Cherry Springs. It's about 1 o'clock p.m. I'm gonna try to get 5 hours of data tonight on the Crescent Nebula using my L-extreme filter along with my Askar 103 APO and my 533 MC Pro. Tonight looks mostly clear. There's a couple clouds maybe around 10 o'clock, but then it should clear up for the rest of the night. I'm also gonna try out a new tent I purchased. It's a 7-foot tall Insta tent. It's supposed to go up in 60 seconds, so that'll be exciting. And I have a new cot that I'm gonna try and a new heater. So those winter months down in Cherry Springs, I can hopefully stay a little warmer. All right, we are 1 hour away and it's clearing up. It looks like it's gonna be a nice night, so just gotta get rid of these couple pesky clouds and I'm getting excited. So instead of driving all the way into Countersport, you can stop at the Dollar General right here on the way and pack up on supplies. This one. Yeah. All right, best part of the whole trip, passing the highway to the stars sign. Coming up to Cherry Springs right now. The overnight astronomy field is over on the right-hand side. The public astronomy field is on the left-hand side. I am heading east right now, and I'm gonna make it right into the park, and let's see if anybody else decided to show up with an 80% moon. Let's see, I may be the only one here. That I am. So when you come into the park, first thing you got to do is figure out where you're going to set up. It's a very, very large park. There are some keys you got to think of. Number one is the main entrance right here. There's a gate that they close at night. That prevents most of the light from coming in from passing cars and people leaving the regular astronomy field, but it's not going to prevent all the light. So you definitely don't want to be right by the main entrance near the bathrooms here. You also need to have a good angle at the North Star because you have to polar align. So you don't want to be pushed up over here against the north side of the park. Where I like to be is sort of in the back corner over there. I can get a good glimpse of the Milky Way, but I have enough room where I can see the North Star, and I have enough clearance on the east and the west side to be able to capture my objects as long as possible. I had to switch up my plans a little bit. You see a few tents back there, but it rained here, must have been recently, and so the ground is pretty soggy, except up here. It's pretty dry. You don't want to really go to a low point in the park. All the water will drain down into that area. It's really, really wet over on that side. Start by putting up our brand new tent. All right, so the tent's all put together. Everything fits really well. It is very dark inside when everything's closed up. You can see we got my cot there, got my table in there. I got plenty of headroom. When I come in, I can stand all the way up, which is nice to be able to put together astrophotography equipment and to be able to change and stuff, just to be able to stand up makes things so much easier. Well, I am now in my new blackout tent. Get a little bit of light from the ceiling, a little bit of light along the edges. We'll open the door. There we are. So we are set up tonight with the Askar 103 APO and the AM3, and we have the 533 MC Pro cooled camera, and we are shooting with the one-time field flattener, so it'll give a native focal length of about 700 millimeters. Right now there's the moon, but it is absolutely clear out right now. There's not a cloud in the sky. We are doing the moon right now. We just did some short stacking videos of the moon on the Asiair. It's really nice. You can take about 10-second videos of the moon, and it stacks it, sends it right to your phone. I think we're all ready for tonight. Now we just got to wait for Polaris to come out so I can do some polar alignment. Right now, the skies are more clear than I've seen them in a long time. Sun just set, and Polaris should be popping out here in about a half hour. All right, so tonight I'm gonna shoot the Crescent Nebula. I'm gonna explain to you a little bit about how I'm gonna do that. So I'm using a 700 millimeter Askar 103 APO. I just purchased this from High Point Scientific, and it was $999. I'm gonna pair that with the 533 MC Pro cooled color camera. This I also bought from High Point. This was, I believe, $700. This is a 1x flattener. You can either get a 1-time flattener, a 0.8 reducer flattener, or a 0.6 reducer flattener. I wanted to keep it at the native focal length of 700 millimeters, so I opted for the 1x flattener. This was $200, and they didn't have that at High Point, so I got that from Starzona. I was lucky, and High Point did an amazing job. I purchased the AM3 mount and the TC40 tripod. Altogether, the AM3 and the tripod came in at $1,800, but High Point did an amazing job. ZWO had a $300 off. Basically, if you bought an AM3 or an AM5, you got the tripod for free, but this deal came out a week after I purchased it, so they went back and refunded me $300 for the tripod. I do have a counterweight on this. It doesn't necessarily need one for the weight of this scope. You know, just for the peace of mind, I'm using a BLUETTI. It's only 268 watts, but it does a great job for the night. Like, it'll last me the entire night shooting, at least during the summer. 6.5 hours it'll last. I do have a dew heater band on the main scope, a dew heater band on the guide scope. I am using the 120mm mini guide scope for my camera, and I'm using Asiair Mini. And notice I have everything labeled. These are probably about to peel off eventually, and I don't have them going into the exact right holes. But it made it a little easier when I started out, just to make sure that everything was gonna go where it's supposed to go. I know that my cord management is not good. You are not supposed to wrap these around like this. It could create interference and mess with the computer. But so far, I've had no issues doing it that way. I think we're gonna go watch some TV in the tent, hang out a little bit until it's time to start shooting. I was wondering what this noise was, this low rumbling noise was. And so I decided to walk out towards the main gate, because I'm gonna close the main gate. But look, they got our food vendor here, and it's a Sunday night. So yeah, that's our out-of-the-box food vendor. They came to the Star Party last year. They said they were gonna be coming out on new moon weekends, and this is definitely not a new moon weekend, as you can see, and it's a Sunday night. So I'm a little shocked that they're here. I wonder how many days a week they're gonna be coming. All right, so we are setting everything up now. I just finished my polar alignment. It went very well. Now I am gonna put my Batten-Off mask on, and I'm gonna do my focus. I'm also using an L-extreme filter tonight because of that moon behind me. So now that we're polar aligned, we're gonna put on a Batten-Off mask. This is a Batten-Off mask. What it does is it creates diffraction spikes when I aim it at a bright star, and it allows me to do better focusing. So I'm gonna take the Asiair, I'm gonna aim it at a star, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like. Now we're gonna go to the Asiair, and we're gonna find a bright star. We're gonna type in Vega. And once we type that in, you're gonna see it on the screen. You're gonna go to the right, and you're gonna click Go To, and it's gonna slew right over to the star Vega. Once it has it centered, it's gonna plate solve it and make sure it's right in the center. And then you're gonna see the star pop up, and then you're gonna do a short exposure with the Batten-Off mask on, and you're gonna see the diffraction spikes. You'll then turn the focus knob ever so slightly and keep taking short exposures until the center line is directly in between the two angled lines. All right, so I did my focusing on the star Vega. So now I'm gonna take off the Batten-Off mask. Always remember to remove that when you're done. All right, now we're gonna see if my object is in the sky yet. I'll first go to Stellarium and make sure I can see the object above the horizon. Then I go back to the Asiair. I'm gonna type in my object, which is NGC 6888. And that is the Crescent Nebula. Then I'm gonna click Go To, and the whole mount is gonna slew right over to it. After locating the object, it's going to plate solve it and make sure it's right in the middle of the frame, and then it's going to do a short exposure just to make sure it's centered. All right, as you can see, we found NGC 6888, or the Crescent Nebula. It is, as you can see, my telescope is still very low on the horizon, but it's going to be rising throughout the night. All right, we're going to go get some food. I'm about to start shooting. I just went over to get some food. Got me a nice double cheeseburger. All right, so we are shooting now, and we're gonna do 60 300-second shots tonight. It should get me done around 3:37 a.m. and I am gonna go to bed now. It's about 10:30, and hopefully I get a good night's sleep because I gotta go to work in the morning. All right, have a good night. So yeah, that was a good night's sleep. I did 10, actually was great. Probably slept 6.5 hours, which is really good for me at Cherry Springs. Usually I sleep in that. So I set my telescope to go back to home position, so it would be ready to be taken down. I also had the Asiair shut off at 3:47 a.m. That's what time my last image was taken, before the sun started to come up. And now we're just going to take everything down and get home. So I was able to get about 60 images on the Crescent Nebula. Every time I checked to see how the images were coming along, I could always see the Crescent Nebula, but there was definitely some high-level clouds every once in a while that would make it a little harder to see for some images, and really good for some images. So I don't know exactly how it's going to look, during this almost full moon with the L-extreme filter, but I'm excited to find out. That's it. And I will show you what they look like here.